Greg, looking back to the Airbus UK Broughton game, another hat-trick. That's 17 or 18 for you so far with the New Saints?
Yeah, 17 or 18. I'm not too sure. Somewhere around there. Yeah, nice. Obviously, the game was won at half-time, so it's nice to come on and Scotty just said get yourself in the box and get yourself as many goals as you can, really. So so put a nice ball across for me after about 15 seconds, I think, in the second half. So it's nice to get an early one. And then obviously follow it up with two more. But I think it's just great that we could put on a performance like that. I don't think Airbus were. I don't think they were really expecting us to play the way we did. Obviously, the sending off killed them in the first half. But I think just the way we were playing, even if they'd had 11 men on the ball, I think it still would have been a comfortable victory.
And it is a tradition, of course, if you scored a hat-trick, you keep the match ball. Have you had an extension built onto your house yet, or haven't you been able to get a ball from every game?
No, well, I don't take them from every game. The important ones, obviously when I got my 100th goal, I scored a hat-trick in that game, so I kept that one. Scored a hat-trick in the Iron Brew Cup up in Forfar, so that was an important one, so I kept that one. 2 hat-tricks I got last season. I got match balls and signed it and gave it away to a couple of the kids who can watch most games. So now I started doing that now. Just whenever I get a hat-trick, I'll get the ball and just give it away to someone I think who wants it.
And talking of hat-tricks, you're chasing your third JD Cymru Golden Boot this season, and those 3 goals certainly helped you.
Yeah, no, it's put me level with Venables now. He didn't score at the weekend, lucky for me. So we're on 13 each now. Look, it'll be nice if it happens. I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. Obviously, I've probably had to accept that, I'm not going to start every game this season. So I think if I put too much pressure on myself, then that's when it sort of probably starts to affect your performance on the pitch. If you put too much pressure on yourself. So it's just a case of just taking chances when they come along. If they come along, if they don't, then try not to beat myself up too much about it, like I've done in probably years gone by. Has put too much pressure on myself. So it's just if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then I've won the last 2, so it's still a good achievement.
And the statistics do speak for themselves, of course. You've scored 1 goal in every 53 minutes that you've played so far this season for the New Saints in the top flight. Yeah,
so you could look at it that way, that maybe if I was starting every game, maybe maybe I wouldn't score as many, because obviously it's a big advantage when you're coming on at half time, and the defenders, Dino obviously sort of ran their centre half ragged in the first half, knackered them out for me to come on and have a nice easy 45 minutes in the second half. So you've got to look at it positive that way, that if you're coming on later on in the game, you've got to be a lot more fresher. And I think looking back at last season as well, I scored a lot of my goals coming off the bench. So it's all positive.
And of course, every player wants to play 90 minutes, but also, as a footballer, you do have to see the big picture, and it is about the team effort and the team performance, and ultimately the result at the end of the day.
Yeah, I said last year when I was collecting my golden boot, it wouldn't have meant anything really if we hadn't won the league. So, it's the same this year. There's no point in me winning the golden boot this year if the team doesn't win the league. That's the most important thing. If I can play my part and scoring a few important goals, then that's great. It's not about the golden boot, it's about the team winning the league. So that's the main priority. And fingers crossed. Obviously we've gone on a bit of a run the last 2 months, probably winning 5 out of the last 6, and a draw against Connors Keys, so we're in good form. We've got a good little run in up to Christmas, so hopefully we can, we'll be aiming to get maximum points out of those games, and I think we'll find ourselves in a really good position come Christmas if we can do that.
And back to you on a personal level, the hat-trick at the Hollingsworth Group Stadium also puts you on 146 now, all-time league goals for the New Saints. That's just 5 behind Mike Wilde.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly. Just not putting pressure on myself really. It's looking back, probably when I got to 99 goals for the club, and then went about 6 or 7 games without scoring, I think, to bring up the 100. So I think that again, looking back, is probably just putting too much pressure on myself. So I've learned from that. I'm not doing that this time. It's just when it comes along, it's it'll be great. It's probably going to happen this year, hopefully. But if it doesn't, then hopefully next year. So it's just not putting pressure on yourself. It's going to happen sooner or later. So when it does, it'll be nice. And yeah, we look forward to it.
And you talk about putting pressure on yourself. You've mentioned that a couple of times. How much of a factor is that with professional footballers as a whole, when you have to perform to the best of your ability, but at the same time not beat yourself up along the way?
Yeah, I think like I said, me personally, I've always sort of put pressure on myself, especially playing for TNS. You feel like, you've got to score goals. You've got to score goals every week. If you don't, then you haven't done your job. But it's probably this season especially, probably I sort of realised that if you're not scoring goals, you're still contributing in other ways. So it's you're playing professional football, so there's always going to be pressure on you. You can't go out there and not have pressure on you. We love having pressure on ourselves. We love being the team to beat and having that pressure, because everyone wants to beat us and everyone wants to see us fail in the league this season. So we've got that pressure on us to prove to everyone else that we are still the best. So we're embracing that pressure, but again, you've got to use it in a positive way like that, rather than a negative way where I beat myself up if I don't score. So it's, maybe I've just got a little bit older now, so I'm a little bit wiser in terms of how to deal with the pressure and how to use it in a positive way rather than a negative way.
And it is generally accepted that the league overall is getting better, the quality is improving. As a striker, have you noticed during your time with the New Saints the opposition defences have also improved and become tighter over that period?
Yeah, like I say, obviously the standard in general is definitely improving. I think, although we've had a couple of victories this year where we've put 10 past Aberystwyth, 12 past Airbus, they're sort of one-off games really where everything just sort of clicked for us and they had maybe an off day. But I think in general this year we've had a lot more closer games. Pennybont scraping past them 3-2, Cardiff met 1-1, and a couple of losses as well to Carnarvon and Bala. So it's teams are definitely improving, and on the other hand it's they're playing TNS, so they always raise their game for us, and it's like a cup final whenever anyone plays us. You can see it in the intensity when they're playing, that they really want to beat us, and then maybe the next week when they go play someone else, that intensity is just not there, so they let themselves down really by coming to us and giving it 100%, and then they let themselves down the following week by only turning up and giving it 75%. So it's that's just the way it is. Like I said, everyone wants to beat TNS, everyone wants to see us fail, so it's like I say, it's just something that we're enjoying and hopefully we'll be able to get through.
And finally, Greg, it is a big game this coming weekend for the New Saints. Mold Alexandra at home. It really is a David v Goliath affair, but we'll all know what happened in that encounter. What sort of preparation will you and the players have in advance of that game, which of course TNS will be strong favourites to win?
I don't think we'll change anything. We'll treat it as if we were playing Connors Key or Bala. We're not going to change anything. We're not going to take them lightly. We've had a couple of bad results in cup games this season alone and last season. Obviously, getting knocked out of the League Cup semi-final the last 2 years to teams from a lower league. So I think we'll just be looking at that really and thinking we really can't take this team lightly. We've got to turn up like we normally turn up against teams at the top of our league. Obviously being at home is a big advantage for us, but they'll be loving coming to a place like this, going to the Champions of Wales, and they'll be giving it 100% and probably more. So it's going to be a tough game. As long as we turn up and we do things properly, then we should be alright.